Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir.
So I can see around 24 participants. Maybe I will wait for another couple of minutes.
Okay, sir.
And I will request everybody if you can switch on your camera, please. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. So let's start our session today. So first of all, I want to thank all of you who presented last time. And in fact, all of your presentations were really good. And I know there are still some rooms of improvement. And as we go forward, and I will look forward from you to more improvements, right? And that will only benefit you. Thanks, Altaf, for switching on your camera. So I will again request everybody if you can switch our cameras, that will be great.
Thank you.
Okay, so any question before we start our session today?
No.
Okay, so today what we are going to start is all about machine learning, right? So let me just start the session and let me share my screen. And please let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Yes, I can see you.
Yes.
Okay, before we start the machine learning, please let me know what is your understanding of machine learning? So student, please let me know what is your understanding of machine learning. Please switch on your camera so that I can see all of you. I switched off mine so that there is no network problem. So can you switch on yours, and so that, and if you want to say what you understand by machine learning. Okay, if no answers, let me walk you through what is machine learning. So we have been talking about AI, ML, and deep learning, right? So artificial intelligence, as you can see, is the full set, and subset of that is machine learning. So why machine learning is a subset? Because overall in the AI technologies, if you see, which uses substantial methods to enable machines to improve with experience. And of course, we will come to know what are the types of machine learning also there in the next slides. And deep learning is a subset of machine learning, which makes the computation of the multi-layered neural network feasible based on some algorithm and logic, and also which helps you to do much better analysis and provide you much better user-friendly results, which enable you to get better functionalities. Now, coming to the next one is the machine learning application of AI, why it is called. So the machine learning is a field of inquiry devoted to understanding and building the methods that learn, and that is the method that leverages data to improve performance on some set of tasks, right? The use of development of computer systems that able to learn and adapt without following the explicit instructions by using the algorithm and statistics models to analyze and draw interference from the patterns in data. So what are the kind of patterns of data that comes. So we will come to the next one is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. And we'll come to know how those things are also done. It is an application of artificial intelligence that of AI, that it gives devices an ability to learn from their experience and improve their self without doing any coding. For example, when you shop from any website, it is for if you go to Amazon, for example, right? Or if you go to Swiggy, right? You experience some kind of already the machine learning is done for you, or some kind of if you go and see what are the things you have purchased, based on that it populates. These are the you have purchased. Are you willing to purchase on that? It comes in the screen in the beginning. So all how it comes, it is basically based on your some algorithm that has been built in, and that is based on the past learning. The machine learning is nothing but based on your past learning. It provides you on the algorithm the preferences that you are going to get it. So of course, these are the definition as per the textbook, or if you go to the internet, you will find it. I'm not going to walk you through more definition on this. You can go Google and search and you can find it. I want to take you through what are the practicality of the machine learning and how it is used. So if you can provide me some example of machine learning before I go and deep dive into some more examples and how in the industry, the trends and mega trends that are happening. So here is student, I just wanted to ask you, what is your understanding of machine learning? Any input from you? I'm not saying to be the students, you are more interactive. I want you to be more interactive, provide your inputs, right? So how machine learning is linked to AI? The machine learning is seen as part of the artificial intelligence, right? As I've shown you earlier, it is part of the artificial intelligence mechanism. It's a subset of that. And machine learning algorithm builds on a model based on the sample data known as the training data in order to make the predictions or decisions without being explicitly programmed to do so. Okay, so this is some kind of definition of the machine learning. Machine learning algorithms are used in a widely variety of applications, such as medicine, email filtering, speech recognition, computer vision, where it is difficult or unfeasible to develop conventional algorithms to perform the needed task. Now, if you see, maybe some of you, the spam mails are basically the mails that are coming from the marketing companies, right? So already what you will find is those mails do not come to your direct inbox. Those comes to maybe in the separate inbox, which you can filter it out. So the whole filtering process is done using some algorithm, right? That is based on your past experience, right? For example, if you go to gmail.com, right, you will find some of the tasks or some of the mails is not coming to your inbox. Isn't it, student? Hello, student.
Yes, sir, you're right, sir. So it reads like what kind of emails,
Yes,
and then according to that, it will separate by itself and go to the appropriate folder. So that's one kind of, AI. I mean, the things the machine, we teach the machines. So that's what I could understand on that.
Next is that, in fact, if you have got MS Office, right? Or if you have got your, you can create your own algorithm also. Based on some of the person or based on the text, right? You can filter it out and you can put it into some inbox you have created, separate inbox. So that, for example, you have been working with, you're getting from SDFC Bank. Just for an example, any mail come from the SDFC Bank, you can create a folder called SDFC Bank, and those mails will automatically flow into the SDFC Bank folder. Right? So similarly, you can understand there is a lot of benefit in having that. So any mail that comes from any important person or any important company, you can basically filter it out and put it in directly into that folder so that it saves your time. If you see the AI, ML, all those things are basically used to basically benefit of the humankind mostly, right? Of course, we'll talk some of the areas where we can see those has been used not so friendly for humankind. For example, if you see for the defense industry, of course, to defend your country, it is fine. But whenever there is a war happening, right, that has been used against the humankind. You can see the use of artificial intelligence that has been used in case of drones, or used in case of the now intelligent bombs that are getting used right nowadays, or the missiles that are getting used, that are all based on the AI and basically the machine learning based on some algorithm that has been done. Next is speech recognition. Now, using the speech recognition, of course, can you tell me where you can give an example of a speech recognition through the ML you have seen?
Google Assistant.
Excellent. Siri is there. Alexa is there. Very good. So you can see there is machine learning we are using every day, some or other form, but maybe some of you are not aware of that, but already you're using that. And this is very, very critical for you because you are the new generation that going to come into the service, or you want to be a budding entrepreneurs that you're going to work and you're going to use this extensively. But another most important thing is the machine learning that use the predictive analytics, right? Can you give me an example of predictive analytics that is used in the machine learning? I can read it out for you. If you are not answering, then I will read it out for you, but I don't want to read out the sentence what is already there into the screen. So machine learning is a subset of machine learning. It's closely related to computation or statistics, which focuses on making prediction using the computers, but not all machine learning is statistical learning. Some implementation of machine learning use data and neural networks in a way that mimics the working of biological brain. In its application across the business problems, machine learning is also referred to as predictive analytics. Think of the weather forecasting, right? How it is done. Students, I want basically inputs from you. How it is done, the weather forecasting? Isn't it based on the previous data, previous years of data? What will be the weather it was there, how much of rainfall is there, and based on some kind of prediction in the stock market. If you see, if you're interested, entrepreneur bodies with a financial brain, if you want to invest on the stock market, right? You also do some kind of prediction, how this stock will react based on the previous years of what is the profit that is earned, whether how much is the cost that has been done against the revenue, that what we call is the gross profit margin, based on the profit margin, what is my operating cost, what is the P, what is the industry P, and based on that, the stock market, the price is predicted in the future. Also, what is the capacity that is currently utilized, and what is the future depending upon the market scenario, how much of the capacity will be get utilized, and based on the capacity utilization, what is my operating cost, what is my fixed cost, right? Based on that, the financial wizards will create how much is the profit that I'm going to get in 2023, 2024, and based on the future earning, I will create kind of a predictive analysis for the stock or the shares. Isn't it, student? Hello, students.
Yes, sir.
Right? So
Yes.
So who are basically going to into entrepreneurships, or who are into going to the finance domain, right? If you are investing already in shares, then you must be aware of these techniques. So just let me know how many of you are investing in the stock market. Anybody who is investing in the stock market? Hello, students. Anybody investing in the stock market with the shares?
Yes,
Okay. So maybe in future, when you start investing on the stock market, right, and the shares, of course, there are some predictions, there are some algorithm, there's some ratio that has been done, and based on the machine learning, right, creating basically what is in the past, what is the results, and on that, and industry they are in, some kind of a graph is created, the prediction is provided, and based on that, the investors invest on those stocks. Similarly, if you go for weather forecasting, as I mentioned to you, now if you're working in a company, right, now depending upon the profitability from the region you are getting, depending upon the demand that you're getting from the market sector or from the areas that you're working, right, you can create kind of a predictive analysis. Now you have got a fixed capacity, right? You cannot increase your capacity of your plant. Now you want to maximize your profit. How will you do it? I just want some inputs from you, students. Can the machine learning help us on that from the past data? On doing some predictive analytics?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, give me how you think it can be done. I'm giving all practical experience. See, if you go to any corporate, if they ask any questions, right, I want you to answer absolutely confidence, and that will show you as a quite different from the other your fellow colleagues or students, right? So think through, give me an example. See, these are the things, if you have been working, those are basically using the predictive analytics. Dashboards are created, and those smart dashboards are quite interactive dashboards, right? Interactive dashboard means if I increase in my 10% of the revenue for this product, if I have the gross margin for this amount of profit I will get. In this market, if the demand increases by 10%, what will be my overall profit? But if my capacity remains the same, whether if I'm using 80% capacity, whether I can increase further capacity or not, right? So all those determination will be done. And that was the top management will be looking at to maximize their profit. So that's why, as you can see, a lot of analytics and analysis are done in the corporate, and there is a huge demand for who does in the analytics, in the area of analytics. Okay, let us move into the other area. Right, so as you can see, Alan Turing proposal has been there, right? So can machines do what we can do, right? So there are multiple ways the machine learning can be used for future predictions, and this is one of the areas. So an algorithm specific to the classifying data can be used, computer vision or modules or molds coupled with the supervised learning in order to train it to classify the cancerous molds, right? So which are the molds which are cancerous or not, that can be done. So I will come to the very specifically your supervised learning, you have unsupervised learning are there. Machine learning algorithm for stock trading, as I was telling you, may inform the trader for future potential predictions. Now coming to the data mining. Now somebody, you are asking about the data mining, right? So what do you understand by data mining? Right? So machine learning and data mining often employ the same methods and overlap significantly, isn't it? But while machine learning focuses on prediction based on the known properties learned from the training data, data mining focuses on the discovery of unknown properties in the data. So machine learning focuses on the known data, and whereas the data mining focuses on the unknown data. Yes, somebody was asking something, was saying something. So data mining is defined as a procedure for extracting info or information from the used set of data, right? And is also defined as the mining knowledge from data. Isn't it? In machine learning, performance is usually evaluated with respect to the ability to reproduce known knowledge, while in the knowledge discovery in the data mining, the key task is the discovery of the previously unknown knowledge. So as you can see, in case of data mining, generally we can see kind of three types of data mining. One is using the RDBMS, right? That is related to tables where mining database can be done, and we can search for trends or mega trends or data pattern. So for example, it is analyzing the customer data to predict the credit risk of the new customer based on the previous data. Example, another is the analyzing the sales data any deviation from the region or product, which I was giving an example before. Next is data warehouse data, the collection of data integrated from different sources with querying and decision making on data. For example, you have got a data warehouse and you want to use the data by different ways, and you want to analyze the data so that you can want to see what is the trend or mega trend that is also coming. In data warehouse, data is stored in a multi-dimensional structure. So that is what called the data cubes, right? Where each dimension is used as an attribute. For example, you can have the data for a time, location, and item types. For as I was giving another example, for example, on a product where the location south, you can see or north, east, and west if you keep it. And item times is basically, for example, if I wanted to increase my product sale into the southern region based on the profitability, how much of my profitability will get increased, or how much if the cost increases by raw material, for example, increase by 5%, how much of my profit get reduced? What is my optimum kind of cost that I can bear without basically increasing my price? So all those things can be used by getting kind of analysis that can be used using the data from the data warehouse. We can use also for prediction. Next is the transactional database. The transaction basically will have called a transaction ID, right? And which basically the list of other items making the transactions from the transaction warehouse database, and where we can find frequent patterns, and which can help us to provide what kind of data we are having. I can give you some examples of that. For example, if you see if you go and post something on YouTube, or if you post in the your WhatsApp, maybe your some message, right? How many people has come and view it? Then Facebook, if you post some message, how many people has liked it? So you can check on that. Or if you go to the, for example, the industry, for example, if you see travel portals, right? What they use, how many people has visited, which are the areas. For example, people want to go to Goa, or which kind of flight they're visiting. Based on that, they can provide some kind of discount. If you see, you get in a message, or you can get an email, or you get a call that you have visited this site. Are you interested? We are giving this kind of discount. So all those things can be done based on the transaction database they gathered. How many people has gone and used that, right? So they create kind of a trend. Now, there are basically other data types are there. For example, sequence data, data streams, which is continuously being transmitted, right? Then spatial data, which are maps that are being used. That engineering design data, that is basically when they're doing the design chips on that we use, right? Or hypertext, or multimedia, or web data. So multiple data that are being used for collected to get the information for the data mining, and based on that, some kind of prediction can be done. Now, I'm just coming to the approaches. So any question you are having? So machine learning approaches traditionally can be divided into three broad approaches. One is basically supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So what is supervised learning? It is used to train machines using labeled data. What is unsupervised learning? It uses unlabeled data to train machines. And what is reinforcement learning? It uses an agent and an experiment as an environment to produce action and rewards, right? So can you give me an example of a supervised learning? Hello, students. Hello. Hello, students. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So give me an example of supervised learning. So supervised learning is a computer is presented with example inputs that are desired outputs given by a teacher, and the goal is to learn general rule that maps inputs to output, that is written in the text, right? So I given a simple logic that is basically used to the trained machine using the labeled data. For example, if I'm teaching it to you, for example, that is a supervised learning, isn't it? Or the teachers, L2 teachers, when they're teaching to your class teachers, that is a supervised learning you are learning. Now, I can go to these are types of learning, what you can see, what supervised learning. Now, these are generally used as using your linear or the regression methods. Of course, there are multiple methods are there used for fraud detection, email spam detection, diagnostics, image classification, risk assessment, score predictions, right? Unsupervised learning is used for text mining, face recognition, big data visualization, image recognition. Now, can you give me an unsupervised learning example? Hello, students. Can you give me an example for unsupervised learning?
Self-learning.
Sorry?
Self-learning by, student
Yeah,
learning
give
by
me an
himself.
now I'm talking to you. Think of a computer, right? In computer, of course, you're right. Self-learning is unsupervised learning, but in a computer, how it is done?
That is not labeled.
Yeah, that is not labeled. Good try. Maybe I'll give you more slides to explain to you, and after that we will discuss in detail, because these are the things you need to know when you're trying to build some kind of a logic and algorithm. So how we are going to do it, and there are of course the multiple researchers has created multiple algorithm and logic, and based on this you can work on this, right? Now, in case of Facebook, the face recognition, right? Is it a supervised learning or it is a unsupervised learning? Think through. Reinforcement learning. So a lot of, I know you have been doing a lot of games and this thing. So who plays esports? Anybody here? Hello. Hello, students.
Yes, sir.
Anybody plays
Yes,
esports? Hello. Anybody plays esports here?
Yes, sir.
So what is that?
So basically, it's competitive gaming.
So how it is done? Isn't it using the reinforcement learning? So which esports you play?
So
you're
Pokemon
following?
Unite and BGMI.
Okay. So you have seen there are a lot of esports. If you go to FIFA, if you go to the PUBG, or you go to multiple, right? Esports are there. Now, what they're doing is basically the main character or this thing based on there may be hundreds of players. Those are also playing. Now, how those has been done? This is basically done is using the reinforcement learning in the gaming industry. Now you can whatever your action is, you have seen who can shoot first, or you can see some of the games. You have to plant a bomb, other can defuse it, right? Or all those things. There are some players that are acting and working, right? And based on some actions, some reaction is taken into that simultaneously into your games, right? When you have been playing, isn't it? You have seen that. You can call multiple friends into that also in the session you are playing, and there are multiple servers around the world, and you have to join a session if it's a group session, if you want to play those. Correct. So in the gaming industry, the machine learning is highly used using the what? Reinforcement learning, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I'm seeing very few of you are nowadays played esports. If you know some of the esports nowadays, especially in China or in South Korea, is highly popular. And for the esport competition or video games competition, they just book a stadium of 20 or 30,000 people. And the money nowadays are also quite phenomenal amount. isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Some of the esports, you have got followers more than 40 million people. They're treated as like basically superstars. So, like the South Korea called Faker, right? One of the most popular in esports, isn't it? Right? So, okay, we can discuss later on that, because some of you have not played, will not be doing or have the knowledge on those area. The gaming industry is a big industry. You got multiple also games that is around the world is sponsored, and in India is also a lot of people are joining those games. Now coming to the reinforcement learning, the most important that comes is your driverless car. Combining with the artificial intelligence that has been used, just for your information. Now coming to the supervised learning. So supervised learning, what is happening? You have got the inputs. For example, here the grapes. Now it has been told to the computer, these are the grapes, and the prediction, whenever they see the picture of grapes, what they will do? They will go and tell this is grapes. Isn't it? Isn't it very simple? You show the picture of grapes, mention it in the, that is grapes, and then a picture of grapes comes to automatically say, this is grapes. Okay. Hello, student. Any question?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is unsupervised learning? It uses unlabeled data to train machines, right? So you have got multiple fruits. Now, based on this, it will mention that apple is a red color, and this is the size. It is the size dimension of the apple. And for example, pear is this color, orange is this color, and this is size dimension. And based on that, it basically understand, and then it label whenever the picture, this is apple, this is kind of a pear, and this is orange, and that is the output. And the clustering analysis is also known as the cluster analysis. It's a technique of grouping similar sets of objects in the same group that is different from the object in the other group. So they also follow the clustering analysis in case of unsupervised learning. Now, unsupervised learning in real life, just to give an example, for example, you have seen a person. As I was telling you, that is the market sector, and this is going to give me the maximum profit, right? Now, using the algorithm, they can find it out which are the kind of people or the target audience. If you have been doing an MBA in marketing, or you've been doing a marketing major, you will be knowing for any selling of the product, we need to have, for example, what is the target audience. Now, for example, Apple will not go for the audience which are going to buy mobile phone less than 10,000 or less than 20,000. So their audience is different, isn't it? So each and every company also find out which is the target audience. So if you see, when Nirma came into the market initial days, they were not targeting the high-end users. They were targeting initially the low-end users who basically wanted to use the product at the cheaper price. Then when they wanted to, that's why if you see Hindustan Lever, what they did, they were selling surf, right? Then they came into selling another product which was lower value to compete with Nirma. So again, Nirma, they increased the quality of the product, and they set up a huge manufacturing company, and then they increased the quality, then they were targeting surf. So those are basically the marketing strategies one need to take. But using the unsupervised learning, the computer helps you to find out which is your target audience. You need to check within your past data, and what is the profitability that you're going to get. So selling of the product with the identified customer group, it will help you to using this machine learning based on your past data. Any question?
No.
So these are basically used in our day-to-day life. A lot of predictions that are given. Now, coming to this reinforcement learning works on a programming an algorithm with a distinct goal and prescribed set of rules for accomplishing the goal. The data scientist also programs the algorithm to seek positive rewards. So here what happens in reinforcement learning, you have got kind of a rewards if you able to identify the data, or basically, for example, think of a dog. If a dog, you throw a ball and you go and pick the ball, you give him a biscuit, he's very happy. Now, in fact, sometimes if the using this, they're not able to predict the data. For example, you go and get a branch of a wood. What will you do? The dog. You will maybe not give the biscuit to that dog. So there can be set of penalty that can also be set up in this case. So the data scientist also program the algorithm to seek the positive rewards, which is received when it performs an action that is beneficial towards the ultimate goal, and avoid punishments, which it receives when it performs an action that gets it farther away from the ultimate goal. The reinforcement learning is often used in areas such as robotics, video gameplay, and resources and management. So again, I'm telling who are playing in case of, for example, the students who are playing games. Now, if you cannot do the proper this thing, if the other player can take advantage of that and shoot you, for example, if it's a shooting game, and then your person dies and you will lose that game. So similarly, there are multiple are areas where there is basically kind of a reward and penalty, and that is how this programming works, and the machine learning helps to provide the inputs. So of course, the machine learning platforms are among the enterprises technologies most competitive are of the majors all the companies are using. For Amazon, Google, Microsoft, IBM, everybody is using, right? And as you know, everybody is looking into the AI and machine learning, and that is basically the buzzword now, and that is what all the future is all about currently in the IT industry. So not only it is basically the machine learning activities, it includes the data collection, data preparation, data classification, data modeling, training, and application of deployment. For example, when you go for any projects, right, there is in the legacy system, some data is there. Now you need to upload into the target system. So there are some data migration strategies done, and that is where also you need to follow some kind of a algorithm based on which you need to extract the data from the source system and how you're going to upload to the target system. Similarly, if you want to create what will be the best processes that I need to develop for a company, now helping the data mining, right? Based on that, you can have a process consultant can do the processing. Now, there are multiple tools are available in the market. Celonis is one of those tools using the data mining concept, right? You can provide you the processes that you should need to adopt on that. So just to give you an examples on this, and which you will find in day-to-day industry that is happening. Now, before I take you to this case study, let me just take you to a video. Maybe that will give you more example on how it is worked in our this thing. Let me just show you. Let me take you through. And
humans learn from their past experiences, and machines follow instructions given by humans. But what if humans can train the machines to learn from their past data and do what humans can do and much faster? Well, that's called machine learning. But it's a lot more than just learning. It's also about understanding and reasoning. So today, we will learn about the basics of machine learning. So that's Paul. He loves listening to new songs. He either likes them or dislikes them. Paul decides this on the basis of the song's tempo, genre, intensity, and the gender of voice. For simplicity.
See, some of you may like classical music, some may like pop music, some may like jazz music, right? And also in classical, there are different classical music. Some may like Tamil classic, some may like Bengali classic, some may like different classic also, or may like Gulzar kind of Sufi music. Now, depending upon your liking of the music, right, you can let's hear here and then we'll come to you.
Let's just use tempo and intensity for now. So here, tempo is on the x-axis, ranging from relaxed to fast, whereas intensity is on the y-axis, ranging from light to soaring. We see that Paul likes the song with fast tempo and soaring intensity, while he dislikes the song with relaxed tempo and light intensity. So now we know Paul's choices. Let's say Paul listens to a new song. Let's name it as Song A. Song A has fast tempo and a soaring intensity, so it lies somewhere here. Looking at the data, can you guess whether Paul will like the song or not? Correct. So Paul likes this song. By looking at Paul's past choices, we were able to.
So generally what happens now, you invite a friend, right? Now, if he likes classical music, then if you play a classical music, he or she will like it. Now, if somebody you invite take into account that you invited 10 of your friends, right? And out of 10, maybe 8 like basically jazz music, just giving an example. If you play a jazz music, then you become very, very popular. So you can see this is nothing but analyzing among your friends also. What kind of prediction, what kind of music you will play and how many of them will like it. So you are already started basically liked by your friends and you become more popular.
Classify the unknown song very easily, right? Let's say now Paul listens to a new song. Let's label it as Song B. So Song B lies somewhere here with medium tempo and medium intensity. Neither relaxed nor fast, neither light nor soaring. Now can you guess whether Paul likes it or not? Not able to guess whether Paul will like it or dislike it? Are the choices unclear? Correct. We could easily classify Song A. But when the choice became complicated, as in the case of Song B, yes, and that's where machine learning comes in. Let's see how. In the same example, for Song B, if we draw a circle around the Song B, we see that there are 4 votes for like, whereas 1 vote for dislike. If we go for the majority votes, we can say that Paul will definitely like the song. That's all. This was a basic machine learning algorithm.
So you can see that you are actually using some kind of machine learning without knowing that you actually, the example I've given you, 8:2, right? So already you started working on that, but similarly, if you can put the same logic into a computer, then computer will work for you. And of course, I've given a very simple example where you can do it as a much complicated things that can be done.
Algorithm also. It's called K nearest neighbors. So this is just a small example in one of the many machine learning algorithms. Quite easy, right? Believe me, it is. But what happens when the choices become complicated, as in the case of Song B? That's when machine learning comes in. It learns the data, builds the prediction model, and when the new data point comes in, it can easily predict for it. More the data, better the model, higher will be the accuracy. There are many ways in which the machine learns. It could be either supervised learning, unsupervised learning, or reinforcement learning. Let's first quickly understand supervised learning. Suppose your friend gives you 1 million coins of 3 different currencies, say 1 rupee, 1 euro, and 1 dirham. Each coin has different weight.
So dirham is which country's currency? Can you tell me?
United Arab Emirates.
And euro is used where?
Europe.
Okay, and GBP? GBP is used in UK.
For example, a coin of 1 rupee weighs 3 grams, 1 euro weighs 7 grams, and 1 dirham weighs 4 grams. Your model will predict the currency of the coin. Here, your weight becomes the feature of coins, while currency becomes their label. When you feed this data to the machine learning model, it learns which feature is associated with which label. For example, it will learn that if a coin is of 3 grams, it will be a 1 rupee coin. Let's give a new coin to the machine. On the basis of the weight of the new coin, your model will predict the currency. Hence, supervised learning uses labeled data to train the model. Here the machine knew the features of the object and also the labels associated with those features. On this note, let's move to unsupervised learning and see the difference. Suppose you have cricket dataset of various players with their respective scores and wickets taken. When we feed this data set to the machine identifies the pattern of player performance. So it plots this data with the respective wickets on the x-axis while runs on the y-axis. While looking at the data, you will clearly see that there are two clusters. The one cluster are the players who scored high runs and took less wickets, while the other cluster is of the players who scored less runs but took many wickets. So here we interpret these two clusters as batsmen and bowlers. The important point to note here is that there were no labels of batsmen and bowlers. Hence, the learning with unlabeled data is unsupervised learning. So we saw supervised learning where the data was labeled and the unsupervised learning where the data was unlabeled. And then there is reinforcement learning, which is reward-based learning, or we can say that it works on the principle of feedback. Here, let's say you provide the system with an image of a dog and ask it to identify it. The system identifies it as a cat. So you give a negative feedback to the machine saying that it's a dog's image. The machine will learn from the feedback, and finally if it comes across any other image of a dog, it will be able to classify it correctly. That is reinforcement learning. To generalize machine learning model, let's see a flowchart. Input is given to a machine learning model, which then gives the output according to the algorithm applied. If it's right, we take the output as our final result. Else, we provide feedback to the training model and ask it to predict until it learns. I hope you've understood supervised and unsupervised learning. So let's have a quick quiz. You have to determine whether the given scenarios uses supervised or unsupervised learning. Simple, right? Scenario 1. Facebook recognizes your friend in a picture from an album of tagged photographs.
So is it a supervised learning or unsupervised learning? Hello, students.
I think supervised.
Okay, why supervised?
Because Facebook recognized that person from that post.
Because already the person's already having the picture and the name is already there.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
based on that, it's a supervised learning. Very good. Excellent. I want all of you to participate. Next.
Scenario 2. Netflix recommends new movies based on someone's past movie choices. Scenario 3.
Okay. Scenario 2. Tell me. It is supervised or unsupervised? So if you have seen anything on Netflix or Z5, whatever channels, right? So it, movie recommendation, it's based on what? Supervised or unsupervised?
Supervised.
Yeah, supervised, because it's all up to our history, like what we used to watch.
Excellent. So it is supervised, right? So
Yeah.
basically based on the matrix factorization, right, is a class of collaborative filtering algorithms which is used in the recommendation system. Okay, so now we come to the third one.
Analyzing bank data for suspicious transactions and flagging the fraud transactions. Think wisely and comment below your answers.
So tell me, what is the third one?
It's unsupervised because that person don't know me, what I am. Just he's call me, hello sir, took loan,
Listen.
this loan, what loan, this offer, that offers.
So it is supervised learning.
Okay, one says supervised, answer unsupervised. Any other? Third one, tell me. I want participation from you, all the students. Tell me. And if it is unsupervised, why, and why? And if it is supervised, why? Why you think that?
It is because of the assumptions made.
So what is your thought? It's a supervised or unsupervised? Yes, tell me. What do you think? It's supervised or unsupervised?
Sir, it's unsupervised. I told you, no.
Yeah.
That fraud person don't know me. Just he like messaging, calling, sir, this, that offer and all.
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. It is unsupervised machine learning.
Yeah.
It recognizes the fraudulent pattern based on the exploration and grouping without prior labeling, right? The trial
Right.
labeling heavily relies on human experience and knowledge, right, of
Right.
fraud, and reducing the possibility of detecting new unknown fraud or abuses, or what has been done in the looking into the different social media, or maybe the previous this thing. They will try to create some kind of a pattern, and based on that, whether this person has done any fraud before or not, and based on that pattern it will create, and this is basically kind of an unsupervised machine learning. So just for example, scholars personalized machine learning model has the ability to think, learn, and react to any parameters. You can in your app, or if you want to decide on that, and that is also generally helped in case of doing the fraud detection. And this is predominantly used in the banks and this thing, so that they can prevent the fraud earlier, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So we'll just go through it, and then
Have humongous data available. Everybody is online, either making a transaction or just surfing the internet, and that's generating a huge amount of data every minute. And that data, my friend, is the key to analysis. Also, the memory handling
So-
capabilities of computers have largely increased,
stop it
which
here.
helps them to process
You can
such
see
huge
using the
amount of
IoT
data
and
at
machine
hand
learning.
without any delay. And yes, computers now have great computational powers. So there are a lot of applications of machine learning out there. To name a few, machine learning is used in healthcare, where diagnostics are predicted for doctors' review. The sentiment analysis that the tech giants are doing on social media is another interesting application of machine learning. Fraud detection in the finance sector, and also to predict customer churn in the e-commerce.
So you can see the machine learning, regarding the machine learning that is there. Now let's come back to our PPT, and where I'm going to walk you through the case study regarding the Harley-Davidson's this thing used, but not today. I will take you on the next class on this, where basically it helped using the machine learning and AI, the increase of the sales, and as you can see, it's quite a huge amount. It helped them. Now, before I move on to the next thing, do you have got any questions? Hello, students, you got any questions?
No, sir. No questions.
Now, some of the areas.
No, sir, no.
Okay, very good. Now, just think through. I was giving another example of the machine learning that can be done using the AI, right? In case of, for example, in case you have got criminals, right? If you know about using the face recognition, or maybe using the fingerprint, or this thing, if they are traveling to, I was giving an example in the airport or the bus stations, or the terrorists, if you have got the data of those, then immediately you can find it out, and you can take preventive actions, and you can avoid some kind of a situation which is not wanted. Now, these are also going to help us in our social day-to-day life, right? So there are a lot of things that we can think through. You also think through, and just let me know, and if you have got any questions. Now let me make it full screen, and let me go to some of the case study. I will take you next class. So you think through what are the things can be done, and then I will take you to the case study. But if you are interested in the case study, then I can walk you through today also. So how many of you can tell me what are the limitations in machine learning? Hello, students. What are the limitations? One is the bias, as you can know, right? Next is if the data or pattern is not selected properly, the algorithm will not work. And there has been, for example, self-driven car. If the
Security concerns.
it could not predict the distance or the vehicle, or if it is a human in this thing, an accident happens, and if somebody get killed or get injured, then those are basically the failure of machine learning, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Some examples I want from you.
It could be even the security concerns like proper usage of the data is not secured.
Can you speak a little loudly, please? Hello?
Yes, sir. It could be even the security concerns of the data.
Absolutely. If you are doing, for example, fraud detection, if the fraud detection, it cannot be done properly. Now, in fact, I can give you an example. We were developing an app, basically in Brazil, as you know. They still uses huge number of checks. Of course, in India, we have come more digital, but in Brazil, they uses huge number of checks. I think the world's largest number of check used is in Brazil. Now we were creating an app which will, for example, you take a picture of the check you're giving. You don't have to go and give it to the person, you send the check. Now using the fraud detection, using the kind of a security check, they will find out whether the person is the correct person, whether the amount he has got in his bank, and then he can directly put it into his check, the scanned copy of the check, and then the amount get credited to his bank account, right? Now, in this case, if it is not able to predict, of course, this is all based on the, as you can see, the machine learning, right? Based on the past history, based on the patterns, and based on this is done. And if it cannot predict, then what will happen? The fraud. Then it's a problem, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Of course, in India, government of India does not allow that. So we could not do it in India. We were trying for a few banks in India, but in India, it is not. And of course, India has become more of a digitalization. You have got the Google Pay and this thing. Now, of course, when you, whatever it says, then also it says when you make a payment, right? It provides you, are you watching, some of you are watching basically a kind of a World Cup, either on the TV 18 or into the, I think, Geo Cinema. Hello, students. So you can see kind of prediction based on the goal scored, right? Or basically number of offsides, or how much time the ball is controlled, right? How those predictions are, how those inputs are coming, those, or how many basically the cricket, if you, for example, the average runs. So all those are coming using your past data, getting into some kind of algorithm and putting into the screen, right? And it coming at a real time, isn't it? Hello, students.
Yes, sir.
So what you see, so how it is done, it is basically for the Geo Football, the graphical user interface has been done, right? So you have seen the difference between Geo and the Tata Sky. For example, Geo, you can see more user-friendly currently. For example, all the games, what are the games highlights, those things are also given. So can you tell me also how usually in case of when they're just providing, I'm just not talking about machine learning since you want to give you an experience. Now, what is the difference between a user interface and graphical interface? Yeah, tell me, what is the difference between user interface and a graphical interface? Hello, students. Tell me, what is the difference between a user interface and graphical interface?
The graphic interface is a bit more user friendly. Like there's graphical things you can click, select, close buttons, and other visual stuff.
Okay, so generally what happens with using the user interface, I can operate, for example, pause, rewind, forward, changing the quality and speed of the video, right? And using the graphical interface, I can see the team name, score, flag of the country, time. So this is how also during the screen when you watch the Geo Sports, right? That also really helped you. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me, there is also coming to, before I go to the bias and this thing, I just wanted to understand, you have heard the buzzword of AR and VR. Can you tell me what is AR and what is VR?
Augmented reality and virtual reality.
Very good. So can you give me an example of, okay, let me just give you a high level what is AR and VR, and then of course we will go into more on this. So augmented reality in AR, we use the artificial intelligence to create user interface to interact with others, right? The type of user interfaces are graphical user interface, command line interface, menu driven interface, form based interface, and natural language interface. Can you give me an example of this?
Google Lens.
Good. So for example, GUI, what I said, the first one, you got the video game when you're playing, right? You have been interacting with that. And so that is a good example. If you go to the command line interface, then you have the programming languages. If you go to menu-driven interfaces, then you have got Amazon, Swiggy, which you have been interacting. So I think all of you have been using, like buying goods from Amazon, right? And Swiggy, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now there can be form-based interface. That is basically, example is Google Forms. And some of you are using a Google Forms also. For example, in your class, you want to order pizza. Now, some of you doesn't want maybe someone pizza with corn, someone pizza with chicken, someone pizza with fresh tomatoes, someone with onion, right? Now you create a Google form, and then you find out how many different kind of pizzas, and that is at the real time. And then to get maximum discount, you said people, for example, take 2 slices. Just giving an example. Now, depending upon the number of people, automatically you can predict how many pizzas will be required and what type. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Next is natural language interface. Now you can use Google Translator, Google Assistant like Siri or Alexa. And in case of virtual reality, VR, so what you can do, you can use AI to create a 360 or a 3D world or environment and give you a user a real life like experience. Of course, I think some of you know that there is a glass one wears, and then you can using that they can use the kind of VR virtual reality. So Oculus or Meta Quest, that is basically currently is highly recommended. People are using a VR headset that helps digital gaming and entertainment. So who are into the gaming and this thing want to go in into the VR world and want to play games, they generally use this kind of technology. And Quest 2 is one of them, right? And so it provides kind of one of all-in-one VR systems. Why I'm talking about this? Because all those, what is AR and VR is also interrelating with the machine learning and AI. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So tell me one thing. Now you have seen in World Cup soccer, right? Before a goal is done, there are basically VR analysis is done. So how it is done. So offside, whether it's offside or not. So the people in the room, right, they create an imaginary line, and based on that, they check whether the opponent player has crossed that line or not. And based on that, the offside decision is given. Think of that when you watch cricket, right? For the LBW, what is the trajectory of the ball that will go and hit the wicket or not. So is it a AR or a VR, and how it is done? Have you thought of that? Of course, we all love watching TV, right? So as you can see, in real life, the games what we are watching, they have basically enhanced our experience using this technology. Isn't it, students? Hello, students. Any other example you want to give? From your day-to-day life you have seen? Or the experience you are getting? Just to give you another major example of virtual reality, right? In fact, I was in Spain, right? So they were trying to create kind of a station for the police, right? Where they can see if a game is happening. Now, it is very difficult to have multiple policemen in each and every area of the stadium. But using the VR, they can just try and find it out whether any miscreants is there or what is this thing, using, of course, the satellite pictures they're getting continuously fitting into that. And then they can, using a control room, they can increase or decrease the quality of the picture, this thing, and find it out what is happening everywhere. And then based on that, they can take immediate action, and they can talk to the nearest police officer and who can take appropriate action, so that the people who is coming and watching the match can peacefully watch the match. Or if you think through, when there is a procession is going on, or when they use this kind of technology, then automatically who are the miscreants, they can identify much, much faster. You have seen during the farmers' agitation in Delhi, there was a lot of wreckage and everything happened. If they wanted to identify where the people are doing and this thing, they can easily get it using satellite picture, going into there and find it out each of the section where it is happening. Generally nowadays, whenever for the defense analysis, they try to get it kind of a scenario using this kind of a technology, and where they try to predict from what will be the actions and reactions. Because if you know who are coming from the defense background, the people in defense had got strategic, and defense planning is very, very critical, because winning a war or winning this thing, you need to have a lot of strategy, and those strategy are also depending upon what are the past scenarios that has happened around the world, what are the feedback they have received, and what kind of arms and ammunition, what are the technology that has been used, right? So a lot of calculation goes into that, and based on that, they create a lot of technology. Now here, if you see during the Russia and Ukraine war also, there have been multiple technologies has been used, and where the machine learning, AI or IoT is been absolutely used to a very, very high extent. You have seen initially the Barakar drones from the Turkey that has been used a lot. After that, of course, Russia has been using different drones of theirs, and they're able to predict the moving vehicles and able to attack those. So the drone technology has gone for a lot of changes, where less human using that. You don't have to send your fighters or your helicopters to attack. And of course, you from your side, you will have a less number of people getting injured or get killed. Okay, I move on to the next scenario, that is basically the bias. So this is basically in the machine learning. This is one kind of a limitation you are having. A machine learning system trained specifically on a current customer may not be able to predict the needs of a new customer groups. that are not represented in the training data. When the trained on man-made data, the machine learning is likely to pick on the constitution and the unconscious bias already present in the society. Now, this is basically problem what happens when you wanted to sell, for example, a product, right? Now, whatever the data you have fed into your computer, there may be some missing data that already are there. Now, for example, if there is a change in the product or look like product is already available at much lesser price, or there is a switch in the trend of the people. Now, if those are not provided into the feedback into the data, right, what will happen? The machine will give you a wrong information or give you a wrong analysis. And that are basically the issues that we get it from the machine learning. So can you give, any one of you can give an example, the machine learning where using that due to the bias, we can get a wrong results? Students, I want you to think through. So anyone, you want to give an example? Hello, students. Any example from your side?
So weather forecasting.
Yes, weather forecasting is correct. So tell me, weather forecasting, what is the issue you can face? For example, if there is an earthquake happens, right? You have seen tsunami happened. If that data is not fed into this, just giving an example of there is a underground huge bomb is blasted inside the ocean that can create a lot of waves, ripples around. So if you want to give a prediction that you are not going to have too much of waves, the people who are visiting the seashore, the beach, right, to have a pleasant weather there. So we don't focus large waves coming in, and you can use surfacing or some fun sports in the water, isn't it? Now, if those things happens, those are not fed into the data. Just giving an example when you talk about weather forecasting. Or somebody did cloud seeding.
Overflow.
Yes, tell me. Cloud seeding, then what happens? You can create artificial rain bringing in, which is not again forecasted. Yeah, tell me something. You were saying something. Yes, tell me. Yeah,
So
you
it
were saying
could even
something.
be the landslides, right?
Pardon?
Could even be the landslides.
I go to the last slide. Okay. Yes. Any question here? Or can I move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what we learned from machine learning. So machine learning can automate many tasks, right? Especially the ones that only humans can perform with innate intelligence. Replicating this intelligence to machine can achieve only with the help of machine learning. So this is one. Business can automate routine tasks. It also helps in automating and quickly create models for data analytics. And various industries depends on the worst qualities of data to optimize their operations and make intelligent decisions. So can you give me an example of this? For example, if you take for the aero industry, right? They also decide based on the number of people they're going to get each sector, what will be the fare of the routes, isn't it? Next is image recognition, the text generation, and many other use cases are finding application in the real world. which some of you are already using or maybe going to use in future. So this is another benefit we can use from ML. And machine learning helps in creating models that can process and analyze large amount of complex data to deliver accurate results. These models are precise, scalable, and functional with less turnaround time. By building such precise machine learning models, businesses can leverage profitable opportunities and avoid unknown risk. Now, I'm just giving an overall, basically an example. I think most of you are using Uber or Ola. Now, using Uber, for example, what you see is that if you go to the office hours, the prices of the Uber may be on the higher side. So how it does, you say that I want to, from home, I want to come to Kupanidi College. Generally, for example, it takes you 200 rupees. But if you see in the morning, that day it is taking 350 rupees. And also how it is done, students, any idea? It depends upon the number of cars available, depend upon the traffic. This kind of pricing is done. Maybe in the afternoon, if you take, it may cost you only 150 rupees, or it can cost you 250 rupees, right? So this is basically the flexible pricing that has been created, isn't it? So this is based on the past history, how much time it takes, how much is the availability of the cars. So using all those informations. So of course, using the IoT, because they have to find out the cars where they're situated, using the AI, artificial intelligence, this has been done. But ultimately backend, it is basically the machine learning that has been used to predict the calculation and from where you get the fares also. Some other example you want to give? Anybody? Hello, students. Any question from your side? Okay, if you don't have any question, let me move on to the next topic. That is Python for AI and ML. So you have been learning this thing. So Python is one of the language that has been recommended and always been asked to use for the machine learning. So some of the benefits that you get on the Python, right? Because it's a linear algebra for data analytics, right? So what are the 5 mathematical areas known for solving the machine learning are basically provided here. So I will, next slide, I will provide you why Python is recommended more on this as a preferable language. So the 5 mathematical areas are, as I can see here, this is linear algebra, mathematical analytics, probability theory are the multivariate calculus or algorithm and complex optimizations. Right? How does ML work? Now, the 3 major building blocks of a machine learning systems are the following. The model is the system which makes the predictions. The parameters are the factors which are considered by the model to make the predictions. And third is the learner makes the adjustment in the parameters and the model to align the predictions with the actual results. So this is high level how the ML works. And as I was telling you, why the ML for the ML Python is used, because it's because of readability and for the relatively lower complexity as compared to the other programming languages. So that is why Python has been recommended for the machine learning. And machine learning applications involve complex concepts like calculus and linear algebra, which I was showing. What are the 5 main topics that are used for machine learning, right? And which take a lot of effort and time to implement. And that is why Python is recommended, because it's more easy to use. And another benefit of Python is it's a inbuilt machine learning, right? And also it has got pre-built libraries. So now coming to the difference between the AI and ML. So AI manages more comprehensive issues of automating a system utilizing fields such as cognitive sciences, image processing, machine learning, or natural network for computerization. On the other hand, ML influences a machine to gain and learn from the external environment. The external environment could be anything such as external storage devices, sensors, electric segments, among others. So as you can see, ML, as I was telling you, is a subset of AI. But what ML does, it's used basically the past data, or basically what are the data that is available in the storage devices, sensors, or electronic, and using that, using the supervised, unsupervised, or basically reinforcement learning, it provides you the prediction analysis, and that helps you in building the overall structure. And artificial intelligence enables the machines and the framework to think and do the task as humans do, while machine learning depends on the inputs provided or queries requested by users. So this is another major difference, as you can see. Now, coming to the facial recognition or image recognition, that is one of the important thing that happens in ML, and all of you are aware of that. Some of you are using in your mobile phone also, isn't it? And also, when you go for any security checks, like if you want, so how many of you have traveled abroad? Hello? Hello, students?
Yes, sir.
So if you go and apply for a visa, so don't they ask for you to basically provide all the information, or if you take your Aadhaar card itself, right? All your data is there stored, right? The fingerprints, your retina images, isn't it? It's stored there. Why it is stored? Because using this, the facial recognition, right? Using the fingerprints, right? For the security purpose, they can identify the person if it is missing in the foreign country. Also, in forensic investigations, like if you go for any criminal case, you have seen in the criminal movies and this thing, using the fingerprint, they can able to identify the person who is the culprit or convict. Next is diagnose the diseases also and track the attendance. You have seen in case of offices or some of the colleges or schools, you have got biometric sensors when you just have to enter your college or office using your either fingerprint or some other identifier, and then you will be only be the door will be open. So all those behind that, the algorithm and logic is based on the ML. Any question? Hello, students. Any question?
No, sir.
So you can see in day-to-day life, everywhere it is used. Now, just for example, who are into the hardware or this thing where the data is stored, right? You will find they make it only those person, maybe using the fingerprint, they can only, the door will be open, and then they can go and access the servers because all the data are kept. So if you want to work, for example, into the like Airbus or defense industries, they will do all background check. They will do your basically all the inputs they're going to take, and based on that only they will allow you to give a offer you a job, or also to visit those areas where that is highly confidential areas. You have to basically, they're going to protect the areas where only using your fingerprint or retina they will allow you to enter those. Now, why they have done it? Because those are the things, it is not easy to copy and for the security purpose, isn't it? Now, if you have got a mobile, you don't want others to see your mobile, you put a face recognition. So this is one of the areas where basically machine learning plays an important role. Now, in case of automatic speech recognition, or what we call ASR, the automatic speech recognition uses to convert the speech into a digital text. Application lie in the authenticating user based on their voice and performing the task based on the human voice inputs. The speech, the speech patterns and the vocabulary are fed into the system to train the model. And presently, the ASR systems find a wide variety of applications in the following domains. So using the speech recognition also, nowadays, there is research that going on where depending upon the voice, they try to find out you got any medical problems or not. So a lot of investigations and analysis are already going on. For example, if a person has got kind of a heart problem or lungs problem, using the speech when they're talking about, they try to find it out also. Next is industrial robotics are used based on that. You can order, for example, you have seen, if you ask Alexa or Siri, they recognize your voice and they can do the work as per your instruction. Or in your mobile also, you can use the speech recognition to open your mobile. And of course, in case of defense, it's highly used because a lot of confidential data is stored and you want to use this method. And also during the secret services and other areas also, they use a lot of this when they want to pass the information. Right, so these are basically some of the areas where we can see some of the benefits where AI combined with ML is used. Now, I'm coming to some of the areas where the AI and ML are used and which are the industries. And as you can see, financial services industry is one of those industries where we can see a lot of usage of the AI and ML. I have given one example about the stock market. I've given one example about the frauds in the banks. So can you give me some more examples? Hello, students. Similarly, if the credit card is given or credit scoring has been provided, right? That also use you about the AI and ML. Now, you have been used, I hope all of you are using Google Pay, isn't it? Hello,
Yes,
students.
sir.
Now, in case of Google Pay, you have seen based on the number of payments you are making, you are getting rewards, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So also you have seen it also provides you based on your past history, what are the things you have purchased, and you try to basically show them in the beginning. Or for example, if you want to use Swiggy, so based on your past orders, right, it provides you these are the things, it comes in the beginning. Or if you go to Amazon, again, based on the search, not even the order, based on the search, it provides you kind of a what are the things you have purchased, and it helps you to purchase also. Or if you go to some of the apps in pharmacy, right? For example, you have got the app Pharmacy. What it does, it basically, depending upon the medicines you have purchased, and if maybe 45 days has already happened or 2 months happened, it can once you go there, it provides you this is the time to buy, or it sends you messages automatically. Based on these messages, you basically it's the time to buy your next medicine. Or if you go to the supermarket, you will find the discounts that are available based on your past buying habits, or based on your you have basically maybe you have used those materials or the products, you will get some kind of a discounts, or they will give what are the currently availability of those products or not. Similarly, in case of financial services, one of the most important thing is basically fraud reduction, giving you the credits, basically card, the scoring of that. Without the CIBIL scoring, you will not be able to get loans. The loans what you're getting also depends upon the percentage of your CIBIL score. If you have got a high CIBIL score, for example, the credit score is very, very high, then automatically what happens? You get a loans at a lesser interest. The easy availability of loans is there. You can open the bank account and you can do financial transaction. Now, how it does, it basically goes, if anybody has taken a CIBIL score or taken the report, you will find it goes into all your past history, how much loans you have taken, how much is your disbursement, how is your income, and depending upon your creditability of yours, they create this kind of a score. So in India, CRISIL generally prepares the credit scoring, right? And also, if you think of a corporate also, now if they wanted to basically add a new customer, they will also check what is the credit score of that customer, whether the customer they want to sell at, whether they can sell it on credit or not, or they need to sell it on with an advance. If they've got a good credit rating, they can sell those with on a with giving some credit period. Before I move on, there was another good example in the financial institutes or this thing. If you go and open a bank account, right? If you go open a bank account, they also in like there was one project I was helping where generally like it was in Belgium. If you have already have a bank account, then you don't have to provide all the informations again. Using basically whatever the information is available, they will from the other bank. You just give the details. They will from the common database. They will gather all the information. They will create their own scoring using the machine learning, the pattern, whether they will give you allow you to open the bank account or not. So that will of course help the bank people to lesser time for opening up a bank account process, and for the person also it will be much shorter to get the decision whether he will be available to open the bank account and what kind of functionalities in the bank, because each bank has provided different kind of functionalities to the customers, and they can also provide these are the things I can provide to this customer because it's credibility or this is what the usage. So this is all done using the AI with ML, and in the financial sector that can be done. Before I move on to the other industry, any question here, students? Okay, if you don't have any questions, let's move on to the marketing and sales. So if you want to pursue a career in the marketing, or if you want to do some project in the marketing and sales, there are machine learning is doing a good number of case studies are there. So what it does is that combining with AI, it's improving the lead scoring algorithm by including the various parameters such as website visits, emails opened, downloads, and clicks to score each lead. It also helps businesses to improve their dynamic pricing models by using the regression techniques to make prediction. So one of the good example is the hotel industry, or basically those, if you find mytravel.com or all the travel.coms, whatever is there, or if you go to the regarding the flight operators, right, they can find it out how many people are looking for those kind of areas into the search, coming to their websites, which is the destination they want to go, and based on that they can create a pricing. And also the because as you know, the number of flight seats are limited, so based on that they will create, and it's a dynamic pricing they do. In case of nowadays in Indian Railways also, you will find it's a dynamic pricing, so that is also based on the number of availability of seats and the number of people willing to basically looking forward to buy that. Next is they can create based on the leads now who are from the customer relationship managements, CRM, that ERP systems that was also created based on some logic and algorithm they can create. This is basically provide the number of people as visited, or this is the number of people are looking for example, product they're looking in this region more. Then of course, based on that analytics, top management can think through what will be the pricing I can do for my product for this region also. Next is the sentiment analysis is another essential application to gauge the customer response to a specific product or a marketing initiative. The machine learning for computer visions helps to brands to identify the products and images and videos online. These brands also use computer vision to measure the mention that miss out any relevant text. Chatbots are also becoming more responsive and intelligent with the help of machine learning. So you know chatbots. So I will give you one good, fantastic example. Now, I think some of you are using the Benetton, right? T-shirts. Now, do you know what Benetton does, students? Hello, students. What is how Benetton does? Benetton, do you know which color Benetton, or how many colors Benetton manufacture t-shirts in which color? Any idea? Benetton generally manufacture all t-shirts in one color, that is white. Now, depending upon the region or depending upon the demand, they have got basically the color that, and then that is done at the generally at the target place, not even at the where the manufacturer does it. So generally they ship the white colored t-shirts, and then they have got an arrangement with a manufacturing this thing. Only the dyeing is done there, and that is how Benetton able to sell around the world so many t-shirts at very competitive price. So this is another example where depending upon the demand, they will create and they will ship those, or maybe think of manufacturing the car automobile manufacturers, right? So depending upon the demand from which region, they will ship those number of automobiles and those kind of brands into those area. So in case of marketing and sales, AI and ML nowadays plays a very, very important role, because logistic cost is very, very high and they want to minimize that. Now, in case of healthcare, AI and ML has been used to a great extent. So I want some of you to provide me some examples. Hello, students. Give me some examples of AI and ML in healthcare. See, when there's early stage of drug recovery, right, is another crucial application which involves a technology such as precision medicine and next generation sequencing. The clinical trial cost a lot of time and money to complete the delivery results. Applying the machine learning based predictive analytics could improve these factors and give better results. Just to give you an example, generally kind of a medicine you buy, right, it is not a one-day effort. Generally, it goes and passes through multiple iterations, and generally it takes almost 10 years. Just think of the COVID vaccination. The COVID vaccination, for example, though it was highly fast-tracked, but immediately did not came into the market. What they will do, they will go and check, and once the injection has been given, what is the result, whether any side effect is there or not. Then they will select basically between different age, different height and weight of the people, and based on the whether it is a male or female, right? And then they will use those results and they will try to find out with then how much of that, what is the reaction, right? Whether it is able to cure or not. And depending upon all such scenarios, after that, they will get an approval. And they have to provide all the results to the government. And after that, once the government finds everything to be okay, and then it is the approval going to be provided. But in case of COVID vaccine, if it had taken almost 10 years, then what would have happened to the global scenario you can think of, right? It came very, very fast. And here, basically what they use in this industry, use a lot of AI and ML to get those information much, much faster, get those analysis much, much faster. Right? So as you can see, nowadays, in almost in all industry, the AI and ML has been used, and we are reaping the benefit of that. Now, social media, I think all of you are into the social media. Either you've been Twitter, or you have been Instagram, or you've been doing Facebook, right? And you have been using Swiggy, Uber, Ola, everything. And you are booking your from your auto cab to air tickets using the apps, right? Now, you also basically are taking the feedback from the social media. If you want to book a hotel, you take the feedback from the social media also, how many people has liked it, what is the rating of that hotel, or whether I want to go for, I want to watch a movie, right? You want to watch a movie, you take the feedback from your friends. What is the percentage of liking, or people has liked it? So similarly, if you go to Twitter, it shows the best Twitter that is available. Next, if you go to the YouTube, the monetization happens based on the number of viewership, the number of likes that is you are getting, right? So if you want to be a YouTuber in future, you want to have a passion on the social media and earn good amount of money, right? So those is also another area one can look into, and all those things are also done using the calculation, using the AI and ML, right? For example, the Twitter AI evaluates each tweet in real time and scores them according to the various metrics. Similarly, YouTube, the monetization is provided based on the how many minutes the people has viewed it. For example, there is a kind of a in Hollywood, right? In fact, I was talking to a director. He was saying, I was mentioning, right, that he basically going to the social media, the YouTube, the videos I've been seeing. Now, the people go and pause, or people do a fast tracking of their videos of the serial. Now, based on that, he get an indication, a predictive analysis they try to create using AI and ML. Based on the ML is basically on the data that is the past history, where the people are looking and for those kind of serials, and where the people are just moving it forward and trying to move fast forward and don't want to see that. And based on those analytics, they're trying to create kind of a storyline, and based on the storyline, they will come in with the next serial. So you can see how it's the whole world is getting changed nowadays. Now, based on because they want to have a higher RPA rating, right? You know what is RPA rating in the in movie industry, or into the TV, the more advertisement you will get, isn't it? And the more advertisement you get, of course, you can have a high budget, and the people who are doing it will get more profit out of it. Similarly, all those things are decided using the people who are visiting, how much time they're looking into it, into that. So like Twitter algorithms, which then displays the tweets that are likely to drive the most engagements. Right? Twitter, of course, that Elon Musk has already taken it, and a lot of changes is also happening. So I don't have to tell you, because you are already into the you're seeing what is happening there. Now, can you give me some other example? Of course, your Google search engine is another area where you type it based on your past history and whatever you're liking. It tracks and provide you a kind of preferences you like. For example, you like cricket. You have been visiting a lot of cricket. Now, if you type the word ball, right? It can be football, it can be cricket, or it can be different other sports also, tennis ball also. But it provides you all the information about the cricket, because you have been visiting mostly on the cricket sites and you've been watching cricket. Now, student, since you have been into, give me one example of social media where AI and ML you think has been used a lot. Can you give me an example? Okay, so this is a kind of a simplified 5-step diagram where we see the key stages of natural NL, right? This plays an important role. So as you can see, it picks the voice, then the speech recognition happens, the speech synthesis happens, and after that, the natural language understanding, or NLU, which does the using AI, the conversion happens. Now, this is one kind of an example, which is generally used in kind of a chatbot, right? Or basically kind of a Siri or Alexa. And using this, they try to mine the data, get the information, and provide you the information. And what we find is the machine learning platforms are among the enterprises technology most competitive are all the big companies, as you can see, that are used. And they are basically like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, IBM, all the companies. Now, this example I have already provided and shown to you, and I ask you to prepare. So last week you have already done the chatbot, and this is basically using the machine learning, AI, and also basically the NL. You can basically help where you have the virtual assistant able to provide you most of the info. And I'm very, very happy that all of you able to capture and provide, most of you able to provide a very good presentation on this. So this is one of the another example where the machine learning is done, and using the machine learning, you can able to dig into the what are the questions you're having, or basically using the supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning, the virtual assistance is able to provide you the answers. So generally, can you tell me one important thing? The chatbot, is it a generally Alexa, is it a supervised learning, or it is unsupervised or reinforcement learning of machine learning? Hello, students. Hello. Okay. Now, coming to this is the AI which I've already shown to you. I hope you have all have an understanding of this. This is how generally in the industry that is been prepared. You have got the data, or you have got the voice recognition, or using the pictures, right? Those are basically using the data pre-prepared processing is done, and based on the deep learning or NLP processes or self-learning, it is put into the AI brain, and using the machine learning and the knowledge builders, if it has got, so it basically create basically output results, and which is basically kind of, it can provide the management with the analysis, and also it can provide help you to reduce the repetitive work, or able to provide you answer to the queries. Now what happens is that some of the queries, if it is not able to answer, then it goes to the if you go to the any chatbot used by the HDFC Bank or any other this thing, they said we don't have the answers, so they note down the questions, and then internally they keep a data lake, and basically once they have the answers for that, they will add to the answers. So next time when another user having same kind of questions, they will to provide the answer. So there is always a continuous improvement also happens in this. Okay, so with this, I wanted to check with you. Let me know if you have any questions, and please let me know any other input from your side. So what you understand from machine learning. So hello students. Any question? So how many of you have been gone and seen 3D movies? I hope most of you have, right?
Yes, sir.
So what is the technology that has been used in 3D movies? Because if you in the future, maybe some of you can go to that industry also, because that is very, very lucrative industry, where and now you have seen in Bollywood or basically in regional language also a lot of movies where a lot of 3D aspect has been provided, characters, a lot of this thing. So those are basically used. So you feel part of those movies, or if you go to, for example, there are 5D, for example, cinema halls, right? You think that now when the movie is happening, your seat also is moving a little bit as if you're part of it. Or if you go to some amusement parks, right? If you go to in Singapore, Sentosa Island, where there is kind of a arena, right? If you can go and sit, and like when the train is moving, it's coming down from the height, you also feel that you are part of that train using the augmented reality, right? So how this has happened? So this is all done using the AI ML, right? So these are basically the new things that are coming. For example, if the class, if you have got a kind of using the AR, right? If you have been doing, then we can see each other as if we are working together. So those are the areas in future also that people are trying to look into. Think through that you are sitting at your home and you're learning with all your friends and your teacher is in AR mode, right? It would have been a different kind of learning also. And those things have come up during the COVID times because due to the restrictions, people were not able to go to the schools and college. And also a lot of meetings nowadays is happening where people are not traveling, and also the travel cost has increased a lot. But of course, face-to-face meeting and these things is always recommended because you can build the network that is not possible through here. But a lot of research is still going on this area. So you can see there are so many areas using the AI, ML, IoT, AR and VR that are being used and are basically the upcoming trends, and mega trends are also in that area. So, okay, students, so anything you want to say or anything in future you want to do in this area, please raise your hand or please let me know. I'm seeing most of you are keeping quiet. So next week, of course, I will give you some case studies. I'll walk you through some trends and mega trends that is happening around the world, so you can get an idea what is happening. And we will go into some new interesting topics. So let me know any other thing you are interested. So just understand this thing, all those things for building those AI, ML, or IoT, you need to create coding, you need to have the algorithm, you need to understand that. And where as students like you are in great demand. So once you can think through and about the process that you want to create, the business objective of that, then of course you will have a much better role to play and you can have a higher appreciation from your management, or if you want to have your own business, start your own business in any of this area also. In that case also, you can find something which is beneficial to the, or give congeniality to the users. And depending on that, you can create kind of a product which will give a lot of benefit. So a lot of, as you know, product getting developed, which able to predict basically the future trend or mega trends, and people are really looking forward those areas also. And that is where, for example, if in the stock market, right, if somebody can predict, for example, now depending upon the, take example, Indian oil. Now, Indian oil is purchasing crude, for example, the market crude price is currently hovering around $83. Now, you have got a production price, right? So, for example, your production price is 90 rupees, or take 100 rupees for petrol. Now, depending upon you have got other direct, indirect cost, then of course, what will be your profitability that is going to come up for selling the crude oil, refined petrol and diesel. Now, based on that, the crude prices is every day fluctuating. Of course, it also depends upon the forex, because you are purchasing, Indian oil is purchasing from abroad, so he has to pay in dollars. Of course, maybe you take the dollars, maybe 82 rupees per $1. So depending this combination, they can want to predict what will be the profitability in 23-24, and based on this, the share price can move. Now, imagine India is buying the crude price at a discounted price from Russia. So maybe now India is buying at $60 a barrel, right? So that means there is maybe our production cost, just giving a production cost. Production cost currently is maybe 89 rupees for a diesel and maybe 95 rupees for a petrol. So if this kind of volume is getting sold, right, depending upon the capacity that are coming up, if kind of a prediction can be done using the predictive analysis using an ML, right? Now you can basically predict the price of the share, and if the share price can be predicted and the investors start buying it, right, they will make huge amount of profit. Now similarly, what happens is that a lot of mutual funds, they use the ML where they have got based on the amount of fund they're getting, they predict that we need to have 5% in this industry, 5% in that industry, 2% in this industry. I cannot have in one company more than 10%. And all those combination and permutation using is also depending upon the trend that is coming up, depending upon the profitability of those industry, depending upon the market leaders in that, whether, for example, HDFC Bank recommend a premium over other banks. A calculation is prepared and provided, and those script or the shares, the prices goes for the future, they can predict. Then of course, a lot of investor will buy and they will get huge money on that. Just giving an example on to you so that you can understand how important those kind of a product, if one can develop based on that, one can have good amount of profit in future. And then if the products are good, if it is can provide, then they can get a good amount of price for those kind of product development. And all those logic and algorithm are based on basically on your coding, just to let you know, right? So any question till now? Hello students.
No,
okay, so thank you everybody then, and we'll have the next session and we have some interesting topics. Thank you everybody and have a nice
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.